This is like take 3 because evidently you have to turn your phone sideways. Did not know that. Number 1 was one of the most missed questions. Not the top part or part A, but the bottom part. So it wants to know which of the following expressions is equivalent to 4 to the negative third. So we take 4 to the negative third, we move that 4 to the third on the bottom of a fraction and make it positive. Most of you got that far. What you did not get was part B. You only got halfway there. It was evaluate the following expression. And you've got to 4 to the negative third. We move that 4 to the third to the top. And some of you stopped there. However, it wants it without exponents. So we have to multiply that 4 to the third out. So 4 times 4 is 16. We have 16 times 4 is 64. So the answer was 64. All right. Next is number 3, which was the average distance from Venus to the sun is that very large number, and it wants to know it in scientific notation. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. And I'm going to make it into scientific notation. So I know that my answer, regardless, is going to be times 10 to something positive. It's positive because this is a big number. So now I'm going to move this decimal all the way over there, and that was 8 times, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. And now I'm going to write this out and say 1.082. I have to go all the way until I have one number left of the decimal, and then I'm going to write these out until I get to the wall of zeros. So that is 1.082 times 10 to the 8th. So a lot of you chose A, which is incorrect, but I know why you did it. You stopped with the decimal counting here. We've got to count it all the way over to there. All right. So next was this one. Most of you got 5 to the over 7th is rational, correct. A lot of you missed this one, which if it has pi, it's automatically irrational because pi is a decimal that goes on forever. There's actually contests to see who can remember and name the most decimals after that. And then you've got the square root of 2 squared. So the square root of 2 is going to give you a decimal, but when you square it, it's going to equal 2, and that's going to be rational. So number 4 was one that most of you missed because you only got partial credit, or you only got partial credit. The square root of 169 is 13. It is rational. A lot of you got that, but then stopped. You have to explain. 13 is a whole number. All whole numbers are rational. So that's one explanation. There are numerous explanations. That's just one of them. So in scientific notation, it has a big number. So we know that this times 10 over here is going to be positive. And then I count backward until I have 8.599. And it's 9 humps that I had to count. Okay? Now let's go to the most missed question of the test. Number 10. So number 10 wants to know how many times the square root of 136 is versus the square root of 33. So the square root of 136 is going to be between 11 and 12. Okay, and the square root of 33 is going to be between, let's see, perfect square, 36 times 6 times 6 is 36. 6 is going to be between 5 and 6. So let's just use this one. How many times bigger is 12 than 6? 2. So it is 2 times as much. So you had a lot you had to do in that one little question, and I think that's why several of you missed it, because you had a lot to do. And you were like, no, not going to do it. So the next one we're going to go over is number 11. From the following numbers, select all that are rational. A lot of you only got partial credit on this because you only picked one. When it tells you select all, you know there's going to be more than one correct answer. So 6 over 7 is rational. Okay. 0.62 repeating, it's a repeating decimal, so it is rational. 0.6 repeating, it's a repeating decimal, it is rational. Well, there's pi. I know it's irrational automatically. All right, so number 12. A scientist measured the wavelength of an X-ray. Write it in scientific notation. Well, it's little because there's a bunch of zeros, so I know it's automatically going to be times 10 to something negative. Okay. Now I'm going to count my decimal place, and I'm going to move it till I have 6.5. And I'm going to count them. So that is, sorry guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,